Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very special episode of Gentleman Masterclass. I am your host, Mr. Marc.antomattei, and today I'm celebrating my 20th anniversary. That means 20 years in Japan. I've been here for my whole adult life, from the age of 20 up until now, and it's really been a roller coaster of a ride. I'm going to explain a lot of my ups and downs inside of this video and have revelations about things that I've never spoken about before publicly, at least on this channel, without giving away too much of my own personal business. But if I'm going to say anything at all, today is definitely going to be the day that I'm going to do it. And first of all, we're celebrating with a small pour here. Now, I don't have any Japanese whiskeys that are exactly aged 20 years, but I do have this Hibiki Japanese blended whiskey from the Yamazaki, Hakushu, and Chita distilleries that is 17 years old. And I have my pour right here. Go ahead and have a smell of this one. This is a really nice one that has a ripe apple smell to it and a little bit of a vanillic and maple aroma in the taste. Very rich, nice and smooth, and also it has apples on the palate. But this is the one that I'm going to be drinking today while going over my history inside of Japan. Where to begin? Well, first of all, I left a post on my Facebook for all my personal family and friends to take a look at. And in case I forget something off the top of head, I'm just going to look right into my computer screen and just take quick mental notes over the things that I had wrote down and shared with everybody as a text message, but only verbally to you, my YouTube audience out there. So today, July 31st, marks 20 years of me being inside of Japan. I landed in Japan on July 31st, 2003 as a serviceman with the United States Air Force at Yokota Air Base in Tokyo, Japan. Now, I was stationed at Yokota Air Base for about a good 3 years before I was honorably discharged and left the service and ended up staying inside of Japan because I loved it that much. But to say that everything has been gravy over the last 20 years of me being inside of Japan would be an understatement. I've had my ups and I had my fair shares of downs. Being that I've gotten married, I've gotten divorced, I was poor once upon a time, homeless no less than 3 times in my adult life. And when I've been up, I've been really up. And then there's been some times where the accumulation of wealth that I had built up, once I had lost the job or was in between jobs, I had to spend all of that just to survive until I got the next job. So I went from up to down, back to up again. I'm at a very good point in my life now, as you guys could clearly see that I'm doing all these reviews over these luxury watches and things like that, Rolexes, Omegas, and Grand Seikos and such. But I would like to say first and foremost, these material possessions and these luxury possessions is not what defines me. God is first and foremost inside of my life. All thanks and praise goes out to my Lord Jesus Christ, who has helped kept me grounded and humble inside of my life. And when it comes time for him to take these things, you know, I've lost wealth so many times inside of my life that I've become accustomed to it, so to speak. So I've really become grounded and humbled. And the next time that he wants to come back to take these things from me, I don't think it's really going to faze me that much. But before I go off on that tangent, let's just say that I'm very proud to be here, and I know my purpose in this world, and it's not to collect a bunch of things that don't matter in life. All right, so aside from my fair share of ups and downs and being poor and wealthy and all of this stuff, there's so much that I've experienced in my 20 years in Japan. And to start it off, I would like to say that I have lived in so many different parts of the country before. I've lived in Tokyo, Yokohama, Shizuoka, Nagoya, Saitama, and Osaka and Chiba prefectures before. So that's what? That's 7. And the places that I've traveled to inside of Japan include Okinawa, Sapporo, Kyoto, Kobe, Akashi, Fukuoka, Hiroshima, Yamanashi, Ishikawa, Toyama, Niigata, and Nagano. So I've did my fair share of travel around this whole country, and I would say that I've seen maybe more of Japan than most Japanese people themselves had seen and had experienced. And I'm truly blessed to have experienced this much. And I would definitely say that I have conquered Japan. I don't mean that in a condescending sort of way. When I say that I conquered Japan, that means that I've accomplished all of the things that I've set out to do inside of Japan. And if it so happens that it's time for me to go back to the United States for whatever reason, I think I'm okay with that. But staying inside of Japan, I'm also okay with that too. I don't have any plans inside the foreseeable future to leave, but if it comes to that, I will. But this video is not an indication of me leaving anytime soon. So, with as long as I've been here, for my whole adult life, from 20 to 40, I've accomplished so much. And the biggest accomplishments are the things that some of them you would expect and some of them you may not expect. So, I've climbed Mount Fuji 2 times here. Now, this is what they say. They being the world, being the internet, being whoever. The word around the campfire. They say that if you come to Japan, like for vacation or something like that, and you don't climb Mount Fuji, then you are destined to come back to this place again until you conquer. Why am I saying that word again? Until you conquer Mount Fuji. So I hope that you all can make it here and try to achieve this at some point inside of your life, because it is truly a magnificent feat to do. And it's going to be challenging to you no matter how well taken care of you are for your health and all of that kind of stuff. You know, if you're in very good health and you exercise regularly, you'll be able to climb it faster than most other people would, but it's still going to be a challenge to yourself and how fast that you personally can make it to the top. So it's always going to be a challenge to everybody. I remember it took me like 6 hours to make it to the peak from the third station, the drop-off point where the buses will drop you off on Mount Fuji to begin your ascent. So there's that. It might take you 5 hours, it might take you 7, but it's going to be a challenge to everybody. But just to climb and to make it to the peak of the mountain, to the mouth, this is something really special that can only be experienced, and that you're only really, you can appreciate it on your second and third and other go-arounds, but the first time, there's nothing like that. Some other accomplishments that I had inside of Japan, they were physical as well. During my time of riding here, talking about cycling, I think over the years, I've cycled approximately 40,000 kilometers, which is about 25,000 miles over the course of X amount of years. Now, that's no small feat in of itself. I do it for my exercise and also do it because I'm cheap and I like to save money. You know, I've done trips that have been 500 kilometer trips over the course of 5 days that I had to complete this, and they were very excruciating and grueling. But it was the payoff just to be able to make it from town to town, because you do have to make it from your starting destination in the morning to the very next town to be able to check in before the check-in time, before the cutoff of the check-in time. So there is a time limit that you are running by, and you have to accomplish that. Otherwise, you're not going to sleep in a bed that night. So there is a race against the clock. There is a challenge there. And I've never missed that cutoff point for whatever reason. But yeah, it's always been it's always been nice to make these accomplishments because I know that most Japanese people are not doing things like this. And I've got to see parts of Japan that most Japanese haven't got to see out inside of rural areas because I've ridden 500 kilometers straight, cutting through 3 prefectures, like going from Ishikawa all the way to Niigata or something like that. It's been really special to me to take a look at the coast and the landscape, to meet Japanese people out inside of rural areas. And once you make that accomplishment one night, before you turn into bed, you go out to the local bar inside of the town and you have a beer with your riding mate to celebrate. It's truly special stuff that one cannot overlook. I mean, it feels so good. And I would like to thank my friend David Gregory, who has been my riding partner for a majority of my trips. And then I have another friend from Cameroon, Kenny Epie, who has also been a good riding partner for me sometimes on other 500-kilometer trips around the perimeter of Chiba Prefecture and such. But I've been through so many different places inside of Japan and got to see Japan unlike how others would. So that felt good to me. That's an accomplishment that only me and other people like me can share with one another. And the other accomplishments that I made that were not physical, but things that I accomplished with some moderate success. I've published 4 books now while living inside of Japan, which has taken time out of my life. 50 Japanese whiskeys 50 Japanese whiskeys tasted in Japan. This one took me 2 years to write. This one here is a cocktail recipe book that I co-authored, Julian's Recipes, the Centennial Edition. Another cocktail book that I co-authored, The Ideal Bartender, with Tom Bullock and me. And Miles, the companion guide to the Miles Davis autobiography. This one took me about 2 years of my life to do all the research and write this book. So all in all, just to make these 4 books had taken about 5 years out of my life just to do this. But it's very nice when you can have something that you make that is going to be here long after you're gone to some extent. To know that you're leaving some legacy behind in some capacity feels pretty good. I feel like I need to write something a lot more meaningful than this because, sharing whiskey with the world is nice and having a dram with friends is nice and all of this stuff. But maybe I need to get out here and start making some Christian books, things that is going to save people's souls and make sure that they're guaranteed for the next life and make sure that they're going to be here for an eternity and not just 60 to 100 years or however long they may be here. My whole purpose in this life is to provide service to other people. And the greater service that I could provide, if I could especially save somebody's soul and make sure that they're guaranteed the next life, that would be my biggest accomplishment. And that's what I really want to accomplish inside of this life. But not to go off on a tangent, which I'm going to do often inside of this video, because I'm supposed to be talking about Japan. My successes with writing these books, and they have been selling fairly well, and I've been making a little bit of money with them, some nice spending change. It feels pretty good, but I feel like I'm destined to do so much more than this and write something that's so much more meaningful. So we'll leave it at that. Other things that I accomplished inside of Japan to some moderate success, I've been a very successful photographer. I take people's photos for money. It's not a full-time job that I can live off of. I make some nice spending money from it. But I really help people to take a moment in their life and to capture that so that they can look back on these pictures for the duration of their life, and they will always have that moment in time captured of them with them. So I love taking people's photos. So photography is something that I'm moderately successful at. I already mentioned about the published books. What else did I write here? Graphic design I've been pretty good at. And the other thing is DJing. I've been DJing since 2006. So that's about 17 years. And aside from God being the pinnacle of my life, when it comes to this earthly realm and things on this earth, the most meaningful thing to me after God, I would definitely have to say that it's music. Music has kept me grounded and has kept me connected to things that are a lot bigger than myself. It connects me to other people. We can share something with one another, an experience, a feeling, an emotion. It's just special. I can't put it into words, but music is the second most important thing inside of my life. And with Japan being a hub, being a nexus that all the most popular musicians in the world, everybody, I don't care who you are, the top musicians, the bottom musicians, everybody that is a musician to some capacity, no matter how acclaimed they are or not famous that they are, everybody wants to converge on Tokyo to perform here. It truly means something. And so me living inside of Tokyo, Japan, I get to experience all of these people every time. Not my idols, because I don't idolize anyone, but all the musicians that I respect, to the highest degree, they all want to come to Japan to perform. And I've had an opportunity, as long as I've been here, to have seen all of them. So I'm going to go off a list here. These are the people that I've seen perform: Stevie Wonder, D'Angelo, Incognito, Tony Bennett, Pharrell, Marcus Miller, David Sanborn, George Duke, Al Jarreau, the Count Basie Orchestra, Michael Legrand, Sergio Mendes, Erykah Badu, Roy Ayers, Amp Fiddler, Kenny Bobian, D-Train, Jamiroquai, Brand New Heavies, Brand Nubian, Guns N' Roses, Talib Kweli, Oscar De Leon, and there's so many more that I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm still trying to get tickets to see Paul McCartney, but every time I try to and I have the money for that, those things sell out too fast, so I've never gotten the opportunity to see him. But Lord willing, before he exits this earth, I pray that he comes back to Japan once more or multiple times more, and I pray that I get to see him the next go around that he's here. I just have to find out about it before everybody else does. And like I said I've been a DJ here for 17 years now. When it comes to DJing, idol is not the word that I'm looking for, but all the people that I respect and the people that I started following even before I became a DJ, the people that made me want to become a DJ, that has influenced me, I have got to meet every single one of them face to face and break bread with them, share words with them, become friends with them. And there are so many. The top 4 people that I've met, who I've actually got to speak with, have dinner with, have lunch with, hang out with, and such. I got to meet Masters at Work, which comprises of Louis Vega and Kenny Dope, Tony Humphries, Dimitri from Paris. These are the top 3 people that had influenced me, and I've met all of them. Frankie Knuckles, David Morales, Joe Classell, DJ Jazzy Jeff, DJ Spinner, Black Coffee, Onsulade, Dave Lee, a.k.a. Joey Negro, Giles Peterson, Kyoto Jazz Massive, Derek May, Glenn Underground, Marshall Jefferson, Terrence Parker, Simon Dunmore, Mark Kinchin, a.k.a. MK, Graham Gold, Danny Crivet, Francois K, Anane Vega, Giorgio Moroder, however you say his name. I got to meet all of these people at some point in time or hear them perform, and that truly means something to me. I mean, for me, it's a short amount of time. For me, only to be DJing 17 years and have crossroads with all of these people, all of my top of the top people, every single one of them, that is something truly special in of itself. So I'm very thankful for that. Like I said, music has been something that I've been so blessed to have be a part of my life. I thank God that I wasn't born deaf, because I don't know what I would do without music, man. It's my passion in this world, and it's something that I like to share with everybody. I connect with people over music. All right, moving on to the next thing that I would like to talk about. I would just like to say that I've been so blessed by the Lord for having to experience these past 20 years. Like I said, I accomplished everything that I needed to. And just counting forward from this point in time, any day above ground is a good day, and any day extra inside of Japan is also a good day. There might be some point in time when I come back to the United States, but Japan has been treating me great. The crime levels here is completely low. There's nobody running around with guns threatening my life. I truly feel safe here, and this is another reason why I have stayed in the country for so long. And it's one of the things that's keeping me here. Every time that I get homesick, and I think every single year I get homesick, and I just think I would like to go back and be closer to family and friends. You just turn on the news and you see what's going on inside the United States, and I say, nope, I'm quite happy where I'm at. I just need that friendly reminder every single time I think it's time for me to go back. Just look at the news and I understand and I recall and remember the reason why I'm here. And I thank God for protecting me. You know, I want to live a full life. If I could live to 100 years, if it's by my own choice, I would. But, you know, I'm here. I want to be here as long as I can, from 60 to 100, however long the good Lord is willing to let me be here is how long that I want to be here for. So I don't want anybody taking away my life from me prematurely. So I'm very happy where I'm at when it comes to things like safety. And as I said, I've had so many ups and downs here inside of Japan, being well-to-do and being very poor at times. I think I've already mentioned this earlier. I've been homeless no less than 3 times. You know, I've experienced it so much that, you know, I haven't become attached to material possessions and things like that. I know what I'm here for, and it's not just to spend money on a bunch of frivolous things that don't really matter in life. You know, I'm trying to make connections with people, very meaningful connections. And I understand that these small things like this could be taken away from me at any point in time. Point being is that something that I'm going to share for the first time on this channel that I haven't talked about before. A month ago, man, I'm going to try to get through this without crying. I've already did this video once and had to restart it for a different reason, but yeah, I didn't make it through that. I'm going to try to get through this without crying, but a month ago, my first cousin, who lives inside of Virginia, had fallen upon very rough times. I'm talking about the roughest time that you could possibly imagine. Whatever the worst thing is that you can imagine that could happen to you inside of this life, pretty much happened to him. He was out swimming at a lake, and he dived inside of some water that ended up being shallow water, and there was rocks there, and he dived in head first, and he landed on his head or on his spine, one or the other, and come to find out immediately after, he has now become paralyzed from the neck down. And it is truly a sad thing to happen to anybody. I wouldn't even wish that on my worst enemy. To know that you have to go through life not being able, the only thing that you can move is just your head or just your eyes or your face functionality. I mean, that's really hard to think about. And I don't know what I would personally do inside of that situation until it actually happens to me. The only thing that you could do is prepare for moments like this. And I thank my lucky stars that I have the good Lord on my side to help me. He's helped me make it through the roughest times that I've ever experienced inside of my life. So from the things that I have experienced inside of my past up until now, those same things, such as becoming homeless again, I don't think something like that could ever break me inside of my life, because I've already faced those trials and tribulations 3 times and I've overcome them. And I've never succumbed to letting money be my God, or letting these watches like Rolex or something like this be my God. So I've proven to my Lord and Savior that I can overcome this, and that I'm bigger than these things. And if he wants to come and take these things away from me, he can, and I'm going to be just fine either way. My purpose in life is something bigger. I just want to share experiences with people, but even more so than that, I've said, I've written these books about things that are not so meaningless, but if I can start doing things inside of my life, serving other people, and can save some souls, that would be even more meaningful to me. That's my purpose of being here inside of this life, and I'm looking for the day that I could save my first soul. I got my life right with my God, but if it'll help me to cement me going to heaven, I want to try to save as many people as I possibly can, man. That's what I'm here for. But yeah, I've never been inside of a situation that my cousin is in, and I pray to God that I never have to be inside of that situation. But if by some chance that it does happen to me, I pray that he helps me to get through, because I remember my favorite actor of all time, who is Christopher Reeve, for the role that he portrayed as being Superman. I really look up to this role. I would like to be like that, but in real life, right? And once his accident had befallen him, there was one night that he looked up at his wife and he just couldn't bear it anymore. And he looked at her and he said, if there's anything that you can do, just take me away from this pain. I can't bear it. And she looked at him and she broke down crying. And she said, no, I'm here to bear the pain with you. And she reassured him that she would always be with him, and that she reassured him that he would not have to be alone. So when it comes to things like my cousin who has children and people looking up to him, I hope that the good Lord gives him the strength to make it through and to be able to withstand this life until it is actually his time to be taken from us. Anyways, there's so much to talk about, man. Trying not to break down crying. I'm going to have to change topics real quick. Just Japan has just treated me so well in my being here. I've had bad experiences with Japanese people. I don't want you to think that, you're going to come to Japan and these are going to be the nicest people in the world. Because when it comes to things like financial matters and money, these people can actually be the most ruthless people inside of the world, because this is not a spiritual country of morality and values. These people praise and look up to material possessions, and money speaks the loudest here when it comes to a lot of these people, and it's a shame, really. There's some people that is just looking to make money, and that's all that matters to them. But at the same time, I have met very good Japanese people that I've had soul to souls with, and like material possessions can mean not a lot of anything to them. So it's just like anywhere else inside the world. There's good and there's bad people here. So I would like to just state that. Oh man, there's so much more that I can talk about. One of the reasons why I'm here, believe it or not, martial arts had brought me to this country. Without getting too deep into that, I mean, when I was a child, I was raised by movies when my father and mother were out of the house. And the first Japanese person that I've ever seen in my life was Sho Kosugi. And this was like at 5 years old, I was looking at his movies. And this was the first time that I had ever seen a Japanese person, or really seen like martial arts on film. And I've become so fascinated with it that even up until my adolescence years and late teenage, early adult years, I was like, man, I got to make it to Japan, thinking that I'm going to come here and study martial arts. And it was never really anything like that. I mean, I have studied martial arts here. I have practiced Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at a very nice chain of schools here called Axis Jiu-Jitsu. Look it up. If you're living inside of Japan, I'd highly recommend going here to study. It's two brothers, two twins actually, that own, black belt twins that own this chain of schools. So, I mean, they'll have you in good hands. But yeah, I haven't. The reason that brought me here, being the martial arts, is not the reason that I stayed here. And I learned fairly quickly that life is about a lot more than just that. You know, being here and just trying to survive and things of that. You forget about the things that brought you here fairly quickly. And as I got older, that has become less and less meaningful to me personally. But I mean, I still care about the martial arts, and it's still a nice guideline for you to live your life by, to teach you some righteousness and some values and morality and things like that. But it's not the most important thing for me in my life, or what keeps me grounded or staying inside of Japan. You know, like I said, I forgot about that a long time ago. But that's what brought me here originally. Anyways, I don't know what else to say. I could talk about Japan for the longest. If you guys have any questions that you would like to ask me, maybe I could get to them inside of a questions and answers video, and I can go more into detail about Japan, just as long as you ask the right questions. But I think I'm going to finish the video here. Let's go ahead and celebrate my 20 years in Japan by finishing off this Hibiki 17 years of age. Such a subliminal whiskey. It's been a very good year for me. Celebrated my 40th birthday, celebrated 20 years in Japan, and my favorite whiskey maker, Suntory, is celebrating 100 years of whiskey making inside of Japan. So there is a lot to celebrate this year in 2023. So far, it's been a very good year for me, and I hope that it stays this way, and I hope that I stay the course and achieve all the things that I want to. I mean, I've already accomplished Japan, but there's other things that I'm looking to accomplish. Whether they happen in Japan or outside of Japan, one or the other, it doesn't matter. But I'm just happy to be alive. And I thank you guys for following me, for subscribing to this channel and taking this journey with me. I just like to take this moment to thank you all. If this channel has been something that you've been looking at but haven't really subscribed to, I would say take the time to subscribe to this channel, because it's going to be a lot more helpful to you. And I'm going to teach you a lot more than what other people out there, like the videos that I've been making recently about other people, about more than what they would help you, right? So I hope to be a bigger influence on your life than these other people, so to speak. And I just want you to have a good life as I have had a good life. So anyways, subscribe, like, comment, do all that good stuff. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Salute to you wherever you may be out inside the world. If you guys are drinking, make sure that you drink responsibly. And as always, gentlemen, you guys know what to do. Keep it classy. I'm out.